Sherricka Fields-Jones, CAO for the city of Shreveport. Hey, Miss Sherricka, welcome back to Keel. How you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
The external auditor apparently finds that someone in City Hall may have knowingly filed false federal payroll tax forms. This email exchange between you and Councilman John Nicholson has become public. I'm not sure how, possibly a public records request, but it brings to light possible tax fraud. Has that happened?
Okay. So, first of all, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to clear this up because it's very important. And I want to clarify that there was no tax fraud, and there is not one draft audit finding that uses the term tax fraud.
Okay. The city purposely filed false federal payroll tax forms. Is that true?
So, as we know, this is related to our payroll liabilities to the IRS. So there is a practice that the city has of occasionally there is a manual check that is issued to an employee for various reasons. And it could be, for example, if an employee starts working with the city of Shreveport in the middle of the pay period and maybe payroll was processed before that employee started to work. So the audit finding and the external auditor suggests that there is a certain date that the manual check should be reported. However, this is still a quarterly report, and those are filed that has the accurate, the correct tax liability that the city is due, and those are filed on time and they are paid on time. Again, it is just a discrepancy of the date that those few manual checks are recorded on.
Ms. Sherricka, how did this happen? How did this fall between the cracks? Why did it take an external auditor to tell the city of Shreveport that, the state doesn't throw a $189,000 fine at you for no reason at all, I would think, for something that's minor?
So this is a practice that past administrations have done it this way for decades, as I understand. And it is not because staff is trying to avoid any penalties or trying to avoid consequences. This is the way that they have been taught to do it, the way that they have done it.
Pardon me for interrupting. Are you saying it's been done wrong for decades? It's been done incorrectly from previous administrations? You've been in the CAO's office for a while. Bring us up to date on that.
So prior administrations have had have filed the forms a certain way. Yes, correct. As I understand, for over a decade. We don't handle it that way anymore right now because of the request of the external auditor. We are going to go forward. We're going to file those, in the way that they have recommended. And again, this happened in, the prior administration. Unfortunately, this administration, has the benefit of the external auditor finding it, and we are able to correct it going forward.
Just to clarify, we've been doing it wrong for a long time, and it took an external auditor to tell us we've been doing it wrong, but we've been doing it wrong, and fortunately, we haven't been fined going back 10 years or more?
Let me be clear with this as well, that the way that it has been filed is not tax fraud. The date that is reported
is it? Pardon me again. Is it something that
does not change our tax liability?
Is it something that is finable? If an external auditor, or if rather the state had discovered this X number of years ago, could we have been fined as we were fined in late 2018?
The IRS has not raised any concern to the city of Shreveport on this issue.
You write in an email to Mr. Nicholson, I wish we could fix the concern overnight, but especially we won't fix it any faster by abruptly eliminating staff that carries out a significant number of operational matters without first completing the assessments and cross-training that's already started. We have seen significant progress since the appointment of the deputy director. She and the finance director have been working closely with staff on succession planning. This looks like you want the finance director out. Am I wrong?
We have a finance director who has served many decades for the city of Shreveport. I think it's unfortunate that emails have gotten out that involve him. No, we have a finance director who, again, as I stated in that email, is a key member of this team, who is respected by staff and respected by the city. And my explanation to Councilman Nicholson is that the council and the committee for finance and audit of the council has received a list of draft audit findings from the external auditor that they have on several occasions expressed concerns with these findings that have come. And the city of Shreveport and this administration, it is important to us, and we are taking this seriously, to correct the issues that were brought forward. The ones that are listed, all of them, again, will not be conclusive in the final audit because these are draft findings. But we have been looking at each one of them and seeing what it is that we need to do differently as far as practice is concerned. So my email is stating that staff is paying attention, and we are going through and making sure that our processes are correct and are clean going forward.
Late last year, we were fined by the state $189,000 for not doing it right, not filling out the forms properly. In that department, within the city structure, is there going to be any sort of disciplinary action, or what has been done? That's kind of a big screw up.
Well, I don't want to get into the personal matters. We have addressed all of these issues with staff already.
Let me ask you this. I had a lengthy conversation with former Mayor Tyler, who had no knowledge of these fines being assessed in November and December. You were assistant CAO at the time. Did you have knowledge of it? And why didn't the mayor at the time have knowledge of it?
I suspect I did not have any knowledge of it. I wouldn't necessarily expect the former Mayor Tyler to have had knowledge of it as well, because, as I said, this is a practice that started over a decade before.
How does that happen?
When we're notified that we're being fined, doesn't the CAO and the assistant CAO and the mayor get briefed about that?
How does a check go out?
I agree. This administration does agree that there should have been notification, that the administration, the mayor at the time, should have been noticed. And unfortunately, she was not. And unfortunately, I was not aware of it either.
So it didn't get out of the finance department, and nearly $200,000 went out?
Now, and let me make sure that I reiterate, too, and you all did hear yesterday that those penalties were reimbursed.
But we sent a check out, right?
A check was sent out.
And nobody in the CAO's office or the administration had any knowledge of it?
Mayor Tyler said that I trust her word that she didn't have any knowledge of it. But again, I agree with you all that there should have been knowledge, that there should have been a report. We should have known about it, and that did not happen.
But you don't want to comment on whether or not the people who failed to tell their superiors about this near $200,000 payment to the state in fines, in penalties. You don't want to talk about whether or not they were disciplined.
We've addressed that with staff already.
Have we gotten all of the money back?
All of the money will be reimbursed.
But not yet. It's on the way.
Exactly.